Teddy Feinberg, Brook Stockburger, Teddy and Brook Show. Brook, good day.
Good day to you, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Busy.
Yes,
It's that time
always
of year.
busy. Yeah, it keeps it fun, though.
Yeah, indeed. Aggie basketball starts the WAC tournament Thursday. We film the show on Wednesday. They start Thursday. They play the University of Idaho on Thursday. Kind of a tricky game for them. I mean, I think the Aggies are favored, but it's not going to be necessarily easy.
No. Idaho has, as our colleague J.C. Groves has pointed out, struggled in the WAC tournament, 1 for 7 overall in the WAC tournament. But they have played the Aggies really well this season, a couple really close games coming into it. And so, you know, what do you see the matchup being?
Well, I think the Vandals present kind of a tough issue for the Aggies because their big man Kyle Barone can step away from the bucket and kind of shoot a jump, the jumper, and what that does, it pulls Sim Bular away from the bucket. I mean, Sim, when he's allowed to play goalie around the hoop, he just blocking. I mean, how much fun is that? He just stands there and just doesn't jump.
That's right. Just be the guard of the paint. Put him in there and not let anything pass.
Yeah, it's awesome. But
none shall pass, as they say in Monty Python.
I do think, considering the Aggies' physical abilities, their defensive abilities, that was a nice reference. Their defensive abilities, their physical abilities, they also have a history. They play very well in the WAC tournament. They won 2 of the last 3 years under Coach Marvin Menzies. So it's really tough to pick against the Aggies in this tournament, at least from my standpoint.
This is where they get hot. You know, this is the team that always sort of builds toward the postseason, starts a little bit slow. This year they had a nice winning streak. They backed off a little bit, then they take down La Tech here in town. So they have the momentum going into this tournament. I wouldn't want to be playing them.
They're kind of built for a 3-day tournament when you consider they're a defensive team. They're very big and physical. They don't really rely on a lot of jump shooting. So, but I do think the Vandals could present a tough matchup, and of course they get Denver round 2, and Denver just beat them. And then, you know, if all goes according to plan, probably a Louisiana Tech in the championship game. Although Louisiana Tech played terrible last week of the season, but I'm not suggesting it's going to necessarily be easy. But I like the Aggies. I really do.
I have a good feeling for them. I really do.
Back to the NCAA. High school basketball. Cruces High plays La Cueva. That is in the state quarterfinals. That game is actually tonight on Wednesday. It's kind of tough to talk about the state tournament on the Teddy and Brook Show because it goes on every single day. But La Cueva is Bryce Alford, who can really shoot the basketball. He's Steve Alford's son.
Yeah, Steve Alford's son knows a little bit about the game. No doubt about it.
He's a very quick release, and I think the Bulldogs, it's actually interesting, the Bulldogs were, their philosophy was to actually let him score. Kind of try to shut down his teammates. We'll see if the philosophy works. It's really a toss-up game, but one of the Bulldogs are very capable of winning.
Yeah, La Cueva is one of those programs that's always very competitive.
They really are.
You know, anything can happen, like we saw from the Bulldogs last year. Great regular season struggle then when they get to the state championship.
They got to get over that hump.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the time you watch this show, we'll find out if they did or they did not. The Mayfield girls, they play Thursday night in the state semifinals. George Mai does a good job. They face defending champion Volcano Vista. Mesilla Valley Christian plays today. They have a history. They have a history in their program. They play Pecos. I think the Sunblazers are a dark horse. We got our 5 burning questions. Let's get to them. 5A girls state basketball. Who wins that title?
I'll give it to George Mai and Mayfield. It's a program that has the history in that. You know, Mai's been there lots of times. They have state titles. I think the Mayfield girls take it.
Clovis. They beat the Cruces girls 62-21.
All right, the 5A boys, you know, state title. Can Cruces do it? I think, you know, maybe El Dorado. You were telling me El Dorado's, you know, maybe the class team in the state. You know, Coach Benjamin can really get it done, though. But what are your thoughts?
I think El Dorado with Cullen Neal. I think if the Bulldogs can beat La Cueva actually and get to the Final Four, you know, it's going to be an interesting matchup because then they would face Hobbs with their former coach Mike Smith there. So who knows at that point? But I think if the Bulldogs, they just got to worry about La Cueva if they can get to the Final Four, great. But El Dorado. Aggies, WAC basketball, we already discussed it. I like the Aggies to win the WAC.
I like the Aggies a lot. I really do. But I'm leaning towards something's going to happen. I think maybe you see a Denver-La Tech final. Not the Aggies. I hope they do win, though. But I have a good feeling that they're going to be very competitive and it could happen. But I think if I have to step back and look at this unbiasedly, I'm going with Denver and La Tech in the final.
Last week, me and Brook both picked La Tech to beat the Aggies. Folks, thanks for checking us out as always at Teddy Feinberg, at the Stockburger. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us at lcsun-news.com all day, every day for the latest and greatest. Later.